I don't always have an opportunity to talk about Transformers Animated on the channel, but when I do, it is a good day. And in this case, taking a look at the original Animated Deluxe PROWL versus the new Legacy Evolution PROWL, this is going to be a very fun video, because in front of us we have two very fun, very cool toys. One of them from the original 2008-ish animated toy line, and the other from the brand new 2023 Legacy Evolution line. So there's about 15 years of separation with these guys, give or take. And in 15 years, how far have we come with Transformers engineering? What's the difference? Is one better than the other? How are they kind of comparing in that degree? We'll find out. One of them, obviously, is based on, an animated show. Very, very Derek Wyatt-y. Rest in peace. That man absolutely revolutionized the Transformers franchise. And it's very nice that in Legacy we are getting homages to Transformers Animated, because the work of Derek Wyatt and everyone involved in Transformers Animated will never be forgotten. The show was amazing, the toy line amazing, and this original animated PROWL is definitely one of the peaks of the original animated line. So, when I was hearing that we were going to have a new Legacy animated PROWL, I was kind of like, man, it's how are they going to translate the animated designs? Because they all had like big chins and very animated. They're very stylized, very sleek. And looking at how Legacy Evolution has done it, I think they've done a pretty decent job. Is it perfect? It's an interpretation. It's an interpretation that's supposed to go with the main universe of Transformers. What people consider G1, I've kind of come to realize is what, Hasbro regards as the main Transformers universe. Everything else is a spin-off, but that is like the main universe. That's what everything continues off of. That's what everything's attached to. It's G1, basically. So we've got like a G1-ified animated PROWL here, and then obviously animated PROWL. Yeah, they're really, really cool figures. Let's just get into it. So they're both deluxe. Obviously, one is much taller than the other. And feeling the heft differences, I would actually say they're pretty equal weights, because this one is kind of denser in some ways. I mean, just look at the thighs. The thighs are a lot meatier. His legs have some less hollowness going on. Yeah, I feel like, ultimately, the one that's probably heavier is still the original, but they're pretty comparable in the hefts and everything. Now, granted, this one's pretty much twice as expensive this one used to be, but again, 15 years. Inflation, costs of production, things like that happen. This one was also kind of a little tall for a deluxe, and this one's a little short for a deluxe. So, take that as you will. Really do love both of these, though. One thing that both of them have done that is kind of more just in the toys and not really in the show. The original animated PROWL for the windshield kind of went up above his chin. You can see there's quite a bit of, up curve with the windshield there. And looking at pictures from the show, it's not really like that. It's more just how it is with the toy. With the animated one, he's got this massive long face with a big old chin and, very, very stylized face. But, he still had the PROWL crest. But he had the very exaggerated sunglasses and the big old chin. So it didn't really seem like too much of a problem in that regard. But the designers for the Legacy Evolution toy decided to keep that element of the design and have the windshield go a little bit higher than his chin. Personally, I got it, and I kind of looked at it in the box, and I'm like, why is his windshield covering so much of his face? I was just kind of taken aback, and I kind of remembered, yeah, that one's kind of like that. But it just kind of bugs me a little bit. Thankfully, there is a fix, since the neck is on this hinge, like this whole post right here. Just kind of lift it up, and then kind of move it down flush to the windshield. And yeah, that pretty much fixes it for me. It looks a little more how he does in the show, a little more faithful to the character, in my opinion. I kind of like it. It's not as much of a problem with this because he has a super long face. Yeah, since they interpreted his face in a more blocky G1 style with less exaggerated proportions, I feel like it makes a little more sense for it to be a little bit more, accurately positioned, I guess. I still love how they kept the animated, you know, the big old sunglasses, a bit of a larger chin, but it's not super large, it's not super exaggerated, and he still has the classic Prowl crest, too. Like, you can tell, yeah, this is not just Prowl, but animated Prowl. I do kind of miss the gold chin, though. I kind of miss the gold chin, but I do like the gold around the ears. I think that looks really cool. So yeah, I'll probably keep it down for the rest of the video just for the sake of, you know, accuracy of the toy itself. I don't know why, I just felt like mentioning that. But yeah, animated Prowl here. What does he come with? He comes with some stuff. So this accessory I'm about to show you, I had to dig through so many Transformers accessories to find this, so you better be grateful that I'm showing you. A traffic light. He's got traffic light. Yeah, he's red means stop. Yellow means go faster, and green means you need to go as fast as possible. That's what they mean. But yeah, it's just a traffic light. He's got a little handle right there, and it will slot into his hand. Because, hey, it was Transformers animated. Goofy times, and the Transformers, they were just like, oh, I need a weapon. I'll just grab a street light and just swing it around, and, oh, I'm Prowl. I'm a ninja that didn't make it into the Elite Guard, and my master died, and blah. I hate Lockdown. I don't like that guy. You know, it's a fun accessory, but there is a reason I do not display him with it. But I'll probably display him with it now because I really don't want to put this back in the designated Transformers animated bag. Anyways, he's got his shurikens, and I do need to say, the shurikens on the original are far, far better than on the new one. So the original, they're all pinned in, and it keeps them all straight, and the gears are very clearly laid out. So you can't really skip a gear super easily. You know, you fold it all the way. Look, I'm trying to skip a gear, and this is not happening. You know, you get it flipped out. You can wedge it in his hand, and it'll fall out of his hand, but you can wedge it in his hand, and he can throw it, I guess. It's a really nice accessory, and you get two of these, and I'm pretty sure both of them are identical, except for the direction of the shuriken. Yeah, you can see this one, the shuriken's going in one direction, this one, the shuriken's going in the other direction. That's also the same for the new one, but I will show you the new shurikens when it is time. But yeah, you know, he's got some cool accessories on the go. He does have these little lights on his arms you can flip out if you want them to be like lasers or something. I think he did that in the show. I don't remember. It's been quite a while since I've watched it. Great show. Great show, but little details like that. You know, you don't really remember things like that. You remember more so like, oh yeah, I remember when that character did that thing. Not really when, do you remember when Prowl had his lights on his arms? You know? I do wish I had the Samurai Armor Prowl. I do not have that one. I just have the regular one. Would be kind of cool to see like a Samurai Armor version, like a retool of that. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, you know, it's pretty much all he's got for like gimmicks and accessories. His articulation, he's got ball joint at the head. He's got a lot of ball joints. So he's got ball joints at the shoulders as well as this whole hinge assembly that's kind of a little more intended for the transformation. But he does have a little hinge assembly right there. You know, he's got the ball joint, and then he's got another ball joint right there. And then he's got another ball joint right there. And he's got a very odd little stick right there. You can, unfortunately, you know, do some things with that. You know, I'll just leave it at that. He does have very limited ball joints at the hips, unfortunately. So for being a ninja, you can't really get his hips moving out too far. That always bugged me, because, you know, it's like, oh, he's Prowl doing ninja poses, and then pop, his leg goes. So you have to, like, be very precise with the leg movement, because you can see when you have it out all the way, it tilts back. So if you want it, like, going straight, it gets blocked. So it has to go back. So you can see it really kind of limits what you can do with it. The knee, he's got a single knee hinge. But you can kind of double it with that joint right there for transformation. And his feet are on ball joints. They can kind of tilt, kind of pivot in whatever direction you want. So this Prowl, amazing. Simply amazing. If you don't collect Transformers animated and you're a Transformers fan, I don't know what to tell you, man. At least get a few, because this line was amazing. Absolutely stunning. PROWL is definitely one I recommend. Not my favorite mold from the line. Not my absolute favorite. I'd probably go to either Rodimus or Blur, but very, very high up on the list. All right, Legacy Evolution time. How did Legacy interpret this character? Pretty well, pretty well. Kept a lot of the details, like the kind of, elite guardy looking gold look to him. He's got a lot of gold on him, tons of gold. It's really nice looking. He does have the shurikens. It's the only accessories he comes with. He does not come with a traffic light, unfortunately. But keep in mind, it's got one pin in the center, but no other pins. So you can kind of, you start pulling this out. And did you hear that? I'm already skipping a gear. The gears skip so easily on this. And it doesn't even want to come out. Like, what's going on? Like, what is going on with it? It's stuck. I've hardly used it and it's stuck already. These are not good. Let me try the other one. And these are, again, oriented in different directions. And you have to have this one on this leg and this one on this leg. Because if not, this is how the wheel will turn in the motorcycle mode. But if you have the wrong shuriken on, you can see it gets caught. That was not an issue with the animated one. So, not good. Let's try this shuriken. Let's see if this one will spread out. Again, it doesn't want to. Like, what's going on? Is that all it does? I didn't think that was all it did. Maybe it got spoiled with the animated one and I forgot how this one worked. But yeah, it just doesn't, they don't want to go out. Because you can kind of see the hinges in there. They're supposed to go out further. It's like I can get them to click. Like I'm clicking them. I'm like skipping the gears. Like I'm just straight up skipping the gears. That's not how you want to do it. Like, what is going on with this thing? Like, you can get it out, but I had to skip gears, and it's just not, like, listen to that. You shouldn't be having to do that. It's not good. They tried to do the gimmick, and they just don't have the budget for it anymore, and it just didn't work. So, I mean, if you just literally click them out instead of spreading them out properly, you can get it all spread, and it looks cool. You can't have him really hold it with both hands too well, because this hand is meant more for like the proper ports. But this one is still awesomely shaped to hold the shuriken, actually quite well. Actually better than the original figure, so I got to give kudos to that. So it seems like they put more thought and effort into how the shuriken really works in the, with holding it than actually using it. But it's okay. I really do like the aesthetic. Again, I prefer it personally with that folded up, but that's just me. Maybe not that much. There we go. Yeah, I personally prefer it up a little bit, but you can have it down if you want. One difference is that the handles are just kind of sticking out this time around on the little wings. They're just kind of sticking out. A little unfortunate, but now that I think about it, I don't really know if this one... Yeah, he kind of has handles. They're folded in. Yeah, he's got handles that are folded in right there. So I don't really see how they could have done that on this modern figure. I can kind of forgive it. Yeah, his articulation, ball joint at the head, universal at the shoulder, swivel and hinge at the elbow. Actually has a wrist joint this time around. He has swivel right there. He actually does have an ab crunch, which is really cool. Not a lot, but he's got a little bit of an ab crunch. Very nice universal joints at the hips. Very, very nice. Swivel right there. Nice deeper knee bend. And like the original, you can still use that joint to get even more of a bend. And then the ankle is yet again on a ball joint. You get some nice tilt. Works pretty well. So yeah, it seems like the only real issue that I have with this new one are how they did the shurikens. Again, they're like functionally not that great, but they still look pretty good. They're still decent. But yeah, it's definitely a little disappointment there. I don't think you can get him holding this. Yeah, that hand's a little too closed off, and I'm not gonna break it. So you can't have him holding the old street lamp, unfortunately. You can't move the lights. The lights are just kind of stuck there, but they're already kind of facing the right position. If you want him just pretending he's doing something with them, I don't know. Yeah, honestly, when it comes to posability, I do think the new one wins out just because of the upgraded leg articulation. Like, here, let's try to have him do a very... It's kind of similar to the pose he had in the intro. You know, he's kind of doing this little lunge thing. Like, there we go. We can see that works pretty well for the new Legacy one. And then let's try the animated. So you can see limited knee joint, but limited leg joint as well. So you kind of have to have that oddly contorted. I mean, this is a 15-year-old toy, so some of the joints are getting kind of loose. And then you do have that ball joint right there. So you can see he still can pull it off, but not as easily. You know, I don't feel like he pulls it off as easily or as, like, deeply either. I think this one's posability is a little better. So, you know, definitely that is one thing you can see with the 15-year difference between them. This one's posability is definitely better. But how are the transformations? So I remember animated PROWL, a lot of people were always talking like, oh, animated PROWL is such a difficult thing to transform. You know, I always struggle, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to do this and that. So I was kind of worried. So I transformed this guy before I started filming, and I was like, well, that was a piece of cake. So let's see how it turns out this time, since I'm doing it again about a couple hours later. Oop! Well, something has immediately fallen off of him. That didn't happen before. It's just the light. The light just kind of pegs in right there. So again, you know, little accessory bit, be mindful of that. If you get this loose, make sure he's got the lights. So then, you know, that just kind of folds. With the legs, the way to tell which leg goes where is with the kickstand. You want the kickstand as the back leg. That's how you always want it with both figures. You want that kickstand as the back leg. Actually, before you do that, you want to flip out the handles. And again, this is why I keep the thumbnail long. Sorry, I have to. I love the gas can right there. So yeah, like this transformation is actually pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. I was actually quite surprised at how simple it was. I was like, people had issue with this? Apparently. Because then the knee kind of tabs into the front of the bike right there. And then this, I'm pretty sure, will collapse like that. Then the foot tabs in right there. Flip the kickstand down. Then you just need to make sure the hinges are lined up for the arms. Fold these over the hands. And you'll just kind of tab that all together. Get that under that. And yeah, there's animated PROWL. There he is. Very, very nice transformation and super solid motorcycle mode. Love this transformation. Love this toy. It's great. It turned out real well. I don't really think there's a place you can really keep this. I mean, I guess you can keep it tabbed into his hand and he would just like drag it along. Yeah, again, another reason why I just kind of keep that off to the side. I don't use that. I don't mess with that. Yeah, man, look at this motorcycle. This is slick. This is absolutely slick and super well done. Love it, love it, love it. And the shurikens, one is on this side and the other is on that side, so I kind of like that alteration. However, I do appreciate that the detail, like look, that looks the same, that looks the same. They look the same. They're integrated into the motorcycle. It doesn't look like it's just kind of sticking out, as we'll see on that one. So there is the original animated in motorcycle mode. Very nice. And then this one, the Legacy, not as easy, surprisingly. Again, it does follow the rule of make sure the legs are contorted where the one with the kickstand, which is actually on the foot now, is on the back. This one's a little easier to tell, though, because it actually has a bit of a wheel cover this time around. But, yeah, it's not as easy. For me, the main issue comes from how this, like, folds from underneath. I find that a little interesting, bit of an interesting technique. And then the not the kickstand, the handles. Then you get the handles flipped up, and you really have to make sure you get the order of operations right on that, because if not, sorry. A lot of this is kind of really collapses. You still have the gas, which is super cool. And then, let me figure this out. Because this one I didn't just do like an hour ago, so you'll have to forgive me. Let me see. I know that'll go like that. the foot will actually form the front of the motorcycle, and I think that is super effective. That looks so good. The arms will go back and just tab together. Pretty simple. Pretty simple there. After you fold in the hands, you just tab that. However, you do want to make sure the knee kind of wedges in between them. Because it's got that little knee spike right there. Then the foot will go flat because the foot has these little pegs here that will tab into the sides of these, which is a little easier said than done. I don't know why. It just doesn't want to go in. But I think this like collapses even more, right? Yeah, a little bit more. So once we get this hopefully lined up, oh my goodness, there we go. Got one side, got the other side. Put that kickstand down. I said put that kickstand down. I said put that kickstand down. I said there we go. Had to say that a few times, huh? Okay, get that tabbed back in again. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Here is the Legacy PROWL in his motorcycle mode. Not as pretty. Not as pretty. You can kind of see here that the shin and the foot kind of makes that part. Where here you can just see, oh, there's his butt. There's his hip. You know, it's not as well concealed, I suppose. But it's still done very effectively. I don't think it's as fluid and fun as the original, but it's not difficult. It's nothing super difficult. I do need to point out, and it's very disappointing, you can see the shuriken on this side. You can see what I was talking about with the direction of it. Because if I move this backwards, you can see it's starting to get caught, and it just comes right off. So make sure they're on the right wheel. But this, unfortunately, they didn't paint the gold spikes on this side of the wheel. So the shuriken, the illusion, it's just like, oh, here's a big shuriken and then a circle. So you lose the illusion on the other side. So that's disappointing that they didn't paint that in gold as well. I could have foregone, you know, gold, like, somewhere else, I suppose. Like, right there. I didn't really need gold right there. You know, you could maybe cut back somewhere else and, you know, put some gold there. Would have been kind of nice. Like, hey, look at this. That didn't need to be painted gold. That didn't. That's covered up. How about that? Perfect. Paint that side of the wheel, not the side that you cover up. But despite that, this is still a pretty nice motorcycle. My favorite part about it is definitely the front, because I love how the foot forms the front right there. They're both very nice. They're both definitely worthy additions to the collection of any Transformers animated fan. But ultimately, which one is the better toy? Very difficult question. Very, very difficult. Because they both kind of do their own thing. You know, one's from 2008, you know, that time frame, and the other is from 2023. It's a tough call, because I don't know, man. I think ultimately, for me, I prefer the robot mode on the Legacy. I prefer the articulation. I think it's just more fluid and fun, and I kind of like the evolution of the design, you know, Legacy evolution. However, as a transformation and as a vehicle mode, I think the original one is not beat by the new one. The new one definitely focused more on making that robot mode really nice, and the old one focused on just being an all-around nice Transformer toy. I think overall, I mean, if you're collecting Transformers animated, like if you're collecting animated, go for the animated PROWL. However, if you just kind of want a little taste of animated in your Transformers collection without having this whole shelf of guys with massive chins, then the Evolution one, the Legacy Evolution, is a very, very solid figure. You can't go wrong with either of these. But hey, it's fun to look back to see what 15 years of evolution and difference in the toy design has done to PROWL. I love both these, man. I'm happy I have both in my collection, and I really hope we get some more animated stuff in Legacy Evolution. Fingers crossed, man. Ones I'd love to see, Lugnut, obviously. Leader class Lugnut. Come on. We need Lugnut. That would be great. Lockdown. Oh my gosh. Finally having a Lockdown I could kind of put on my Generation shelf would be amazing. What else? I'm looking at my animated shelf real quick. Bulkhead, but we kind of already got Prime Bulkhead. I don't see that happening. Megatron would be cool. Having Megatron turn into like a big helicopter. I already said Lockdown. Shockwave would be kind of neat, doing like the Long Arm Prime thing. Ultra Magnus or Wreck-Gar would be really cool too. There's a lot of stuff you could pull from animated. Oh, Jetfire and Jetstorm. Yes! That is my #1 submission. Legacy Evolution, Jetfire and Jetstorm. That's what I want. That's what I want. Make it leader class, make them both like in between Deluxe and Voyager. Boom. I'd get it. Make it like a leader class 2-pack. Alrighty, there we go. There's my little look at the original animated Prowl versus the new Legacy. Again, can't go wrong with either. Just kind of depends on your own personal tastes and what you value in your Transformers toys. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Thanks so much for watching. Special shout out to channel members. Couldn't do it without you guys. Any support at all really helps out. Love it. Thank you. I don't deserve it. Thanks so much. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.